Now, when I was a kid growing up watching football, Bolton Wanderers were a team that was synonymous with the Premier League. They had players like JJ Okocha, Kevin Davis, UC Laskalainen, big Sam Allardyce, before he was England manager, before he was getting caught out in stings, was consistently overperforming with them. And then they had no end of money problems. So we're going to rebuild them. And we're going to rebuild them with only free transfers. And that's how we're going to see how far we can take them. Now, we've already done the first season. Let's show you how we got on. We actually went up through the playoffs. Now, we were on course to finish in the automatics. And honestly, our second half of the season, absolutely shocking. I mean, you can see if I show you here, this is the first half of the season right here. The amount of wins we get are brilliant. There's not many draws and there's a couple of back-to-back defeats. And then we hit here, which is the 16th of December. And after the 16th of December, we were drawing games that we were winning before, and honestly, it was truly, truly abysmal. Now, we did make a couple of signings in the first season as well. We brought in a couple of freebies. Let's show you who. Now, obviously, the 1.5 million, bear in mind, is spent before I came in. So we signed Felipe Aruna, 28-year-old Brazilian holding midfielder. Absolutely class for League One and Championship. Maybe even push for the Premier League, but he's always a player to keep an eye on, especially when you're at the start of a save. If you're looking for that right player who can play a multitude of positions, this is your guy. We also signed Sulan Mara, 28-year-old Gambian. Now, he's been playing out in Israel, Belgium. He used to play for Watford many moons ago. And he can play, again, a number of positions: centre-back, defensive midfielder, and central midfielder. So again, really, really good free signing and a player that you will get the absolute most out of because you can use him wherever you need to. The other player we signed is former Preston midfielder Josh Anoma. He's a central midfielder, attacking midfielder. However, in our system, he does play as a central midfielder, and honestly, he's a championship player. Getting him in League One is absolutely brilliant. I mean, obviously, he's had experience playing with Fulham, Sheffield Wednesday before, but he is the guy. Now, in terms of the rest of the squad, Nathan Baxter's the goalkeeper, and again, absolute class. I mean, look at that for this squad. We've already got a leading Sky Bet Championship goalkeeper in the team, which is absolutely brilliant. And all his stats have gone up in the first season, which is really good. Only 25 years old. So if we can get to the Premier League, he could be our first choice goalkeeper, which I think is really important. There are a couple of players in the team that I really, really don't like. But, you know, we'll come on to them, and I think they'll probably see him leave over the course of this summer. And one of them is Cameron Jerome. And the reason I don't like him is purely because of his age. He's 37 years old with no pace and no stamina, and he just doesn't add anything. So his contract is up and it won't be getting renewed. So he'll be gone this summer, which I think is quite good. One player we want to keep hold of is Carlos Mendes Gomez. Now, he didn't play all that often this season. However, we will be looking to keep hold of him and tie him down to a new contract. He's got 2 years left on his current deal, and he could really become an important player. Now, I've already had a look at the free transfers that we've got out, and there are a couple that we're keeping an eye on. If we go back and we just have a look at the frees, you've got, if I go back to the top, you've got the likes of Mark Albrighton, so we could really add some experience. And again, with the positions that he can play, he would be good for maybe 1 or 2 seasons before retirement. He's 34 years old now. That is the only thing that's putting me off. However, 34 years old, and compared to Cameron Jerome, because his work rate is so high, his natural fitness is so high, he's probably worth a punt in the first season back in the Championship. The other players are your likes of Nasir Chadley, who again, 35 years old. Matt Ritchie is available on a free transfer. So there are a lot of players that we need to evaluate. Now, one player that we have already looked, or we are scouting, is Nathan Ferguson. He's only 23 years old, and his contract is up with Crystal Palace. Obviously, I can't put a bid in for him yet. I can't offer him a contract due to them being in England, but that will be a player that we definitely keep an eye on as we move into the coming seasons. Scott Carson's time at Manchester City appears to have come to an end, and Andreas Weimann is also available on a free transfer. Again, it's slightly contradicting that I say I don't like Cameron Jerome because of his age. Obviously, Vayman's only 32 and doesn't have any pace, but his natural fitness, stamina, and work rate all trump what Cameron Jerome brings to the team. He really just doesn't impress me at all. So we're going to go through the summer, and then we'll see how we get on in our second season. Right then, our first season in the Championship's done. Let's find out how we got on. Now, we finished 15th. Absolutely brilliant. The board wanted the top half finish, but honestly, at the start of the season, I said just attempt to avoid relegation. Remember, we're only signing 3 players. Third round of the Cup, FA Cup, and second round of the Carabao Cup. So let's have a look at who we signed. In terms of players that we brought in, we signed Emiliano Marcondes on a free transfer. He'd been playing for Hibernian last season, but he was at Bournemouth and got released. So an absolute steal of a player. Attacking midfielder, really good pace, decent flair, good finisher, really, really good player. Played 37 games, scored 7 goals over the season. Who else did we sign? We also signed Arthur Okonkwo as a backup goalkeeper. Free transfer again. We signed Jamal Lowe. He was a main player coming off the bench, 20 substitute appearances, but again, he's going to be he's requested a transfer, so we'll see if we can talk him round over the summer. But, you know, he's going to be key, I think, moving forward. Nathan Ferguson was a big one. We brought in on a free transfer from Crystal Palace as well. Really, really impressive signing. And Caden Jackson, who was also asked to leave. The reason for that, he only played two games. So, you know, that's kind of expected to happen. Now, Dion Charles had a really good season. 29-year-old Northern Irish striker. He's bagged 18 league goals in our first season in the Championship. Absolute top class season by him. And he looks to be the mainstay of our attack going forward unless we can try and sign him. Now, one player who we did bring in to really add a little bit of experience to the team was Aaron Creswell. He was brought in as a left back, and he actually played 39 games in the league over the course of the season, once in the FA Cup as well. So we played 30 games overall. And his experience was really key. 35 years old. He's only on a 1-year contract, so he'll probably leave this summer. But we needed that older head, I think, in the squad going forward. Right, so we need to have a look at who we're going to sign. We want to have a look at just to see what kind of players we've got that we can really kind of put the money into. Now, there are some really class players who we're going to look to sign. Nathaniel Phillips is on a free transfer from Liverpool. He was at Cardiff last season in this league, played 39 games. So the chances are we will be putting in a bid for him. You've also got Jonathan Panzo. He's just been released by Nottingham Forest. Again, we're going to look to sign him just to strengthen the defence, as I think that's where we need to really improve going into the third season as we try and push to get Bolton to the Premier League in this rebuild. And it really does look like we could have a busy summer, and we've got a lot of money in that wage budget to really kind of invest if we need to. So it's looking really, really positive. In terms of the data hub, if we have a look at that very quickly, you can see that our passing is really, really good. Goals per game is down slightly this season, but honestly, I think that'll improve as we go into season 3. So let's find out how we get on. Right then, it's time to see how we got on in our second season of the Championship. And honestly, it wasn't as good as the first one. We had a really bad start to the season. We pulled it back. We managed to avoid relegation. We finished 20th, just the 4 points clear. So we've got 2 seasons left in the rebuild to retry and push for the Premier League. But the good thing is, after all of Bolton's financial issues, they've got a lot of money in the bank, and that is really, really positive. And I think that's part of the rebuild that we've got to go for. Current balance is £39.5 million. That in itself just shows the kind of job that we've been able to do with the promotion. It's really taken from the, where they were, which was day-to-day living kind of hand-to-mouth, to where they are now. And I think that is really important part of this process. If we had a lot longer than 5 years for the rebuild, we'd probably see much more success. But let's have a look at who we brought in the summer. Now, one of the free transfers we brought in was Courtney Hawes to play centre-back. He played 44 games with an average rating of 6.97. Really important part of our central defence, with us playing 3 centre-backs as well. And we also signed Tommy Doyle on a free transfer. Now, he does have a release clause in his contract of £25 million since he signed him from Manchester City. But hopefully we can keep him throughout the summer and really build the team around him. He's such an impressive player. When you look at somebody at 24 years old who you think he could be captain of this team, this is that player, and he really is a promising youngster. 43 appearances, just the 2 assists, but he plays as a holding midfielder. And as we play 2 of those in this tactic, really, really important. We also brought in Jonathan Panzo, who'd just been released by Nottingham Forest, so Premier League experience. He played 33 games, or started 33, 3 off the bench. Average rating of just under 7, 6.99, 1 goal, 2 assists. And again, strengthens our back line. Really, really important. So that's who we brought in last season. Now, in terms of what we've really achieved as a club, it's been good. We've had a very, very impressive couple of years so far, taking them from League One, to the Championship, and we've seen our sponsorship income improve dramatically. One thing we do need to make sure that we are doing, though, is really building for the future, and we have bumped up our coaching staff with the likes of Robin van Persie joining that, so that is always important. I think Paul Robinson's coming as well, the former Tottenham Hotspurs goalkeeper. So there are big things happening throughout the whole club as a whole, and one of the highest parts of our coaching staff, the highest rated section of our coaching staff, is the defence. So that again is somewhere we need to improve, and that is why we've done it. We did have a number of injuries throughout the season. Probably the worst being to our first team was Nathan Baxter, our goalkeeper. He actually suffered 3 injuries and was out for 7 weeks of the season, which again, when you've got a goalkeeper who is that good, losing him for such a period of time probably doesn't help us in the long run. However, it's not as bad as it could have been, and hopefully we can keep him fit. We've got a very good squad. We just need to build and look forward now. So we'll move into the next season. We've got season 4 to go, and we'll see if we can push on and maybe look for that top half finish in the Championship. We've just finished season 4, and we have achieved one of our big goals of this rebuild, and honestly, I'm over the moon. Really, really over the moon. We have got Bolton Wanderers to the Premier League in 4 seasons, beating Leeds 2-1 in extra time in the playoff final. Remember, this is being done with just free transfers. We've not spent a penny. It's been absolutely brilliant. So in terms of players we bring in, let's show you. So now, obviously, this player here, Ryan Donnelly, wasn't signed by me. That was signed, I obviously holiday it. So once we get to the season starting, I leave it in terms of the club. So we brought in Tati Chong on a free transfer. Liam Delap, we brought him on a free transfer. Scored 11 goals as well from 18 starts. Really, really impressive. Junior Firpo, we were able to bring in on a free transfer as well as Sergio Gomez, who'd been released by Manchester City, and he is a real player. He's played left wing back for us all season, and honestly, what a signing this lad has been. He's played 48 games, which means he played all bar 1 of our league games this season. That is a brilliant record. We actually recouped £56 million this year. Now, there are 2 reasons for that. One is that Nathan Baxter left and went to Leeds, who obviously we beat in the playoff finals. And the other one is Jonathan Panzo left for 15 million and went to SH Port. They are a team in the Chinese Super League. So he's gone over there. I wonder what his contract is on. £46,500 he's on over in China. So absolutely sensational. And honestly, we were at one point really pushing for automatics. When we actually look at the run of games that we had, you can see that there are lots of wins and a scattering of defeats, especially in the early parts of the season. It was this run here that stopped us really getting, I would say, automatic promotion. That run there, where we only won 3 games in, is that 9 games? We only 3 and 9. That really scuppered us in getting that, but we were able to obviously bounce back and beat Ipswich and Leeds in the playoffs. Absolutely Amazing. In terms of the club, then, let's have a look at our landmarks. Now, there were talks of a board takeover. Never happened, and we don't need it to, because we have been able to get the club to a point financially where we're considered rich. They've given us a transfer budget of £45 million, which is brilliant. We're not going to be spending a penny. What we are going to do, and I'm going to do it right now on screen, is we're going to be taking all of this money and putting it into our wages, which means my weekly wage budget is £2.1 million for free transfers. Now that is absolutely awesome. So we can have a look at who is available and who will be able to sign. Now, a quick look at the team. Let's just have a look. Aaron Morley scored 11 goals from a holding midfield position. Liam Delap got 11. Emilio Marcondes got 10. Kaio George got 9. Jimmy Torrian, this is a player we brought in as well on a free transfer. He was released by Manchester City. He scored 7 goals, played 44 times in the league for us. Really, really pleased to have got him over the line. 23-year-old Finnish midfielder. Honestly, so happy we've got to the Premier League, and we've now got 1 season left. And all I want to do is try and stay up. We've got Bolton in a place where financially they are in a superb position. And they're going to get Premier League football. And if we do get relegated, they'll get parachute payments. So we are in such a strong position. Absolutely awesome. Let's go see how we get on in the Premier League and wrap up the first rebuild we've done in ages. So our rebuild is complete. Let's see how we got on. Unfortunately, our time in the Premier League was not a good one. We got relegated. We finished 19th. And all the bottom 3, West Ham and Sheffield United, along with ourselves, were all cut adrift, really. As Bournemouth finished 17th, 11 clear of West Ham in 18th. We got to the 3rd round of the FA Cup and 3rd round of the Carabao Cup. There were some changes at the club as well over the season. Sharon Britton, the chairman of Bolton Wanderers, stood down, and Malachi McDonnell took over. He was promoted from within. So there were some changes from within the club. It was always going to be difficult anyway, I think, staying up when we're only signing 3 players, because you're so reliant on who becomes available. And I think a lot of the players came available this year didn't fit the system. The likes of Anthony at United became free. There was Marquinhos, who's from Arsenal, both wingers, both fantastic wingers who would have signed for us. They would have been very expensive, £80,000-90,000 a week. But they just don't fit the system we're playing. We play with wing backs and no attacking wide men. So let's have a look at who we brought in now. One of the players we signed was Alban Lafont. He was on a free transfer, having been released by Nantes. Played 33 times and conceded 64 goals. But again, he was always going to have a difficult times. We signed Lianco, who'd been released by Southampton. Again, pretty much a mainstay of our defence throughout the course of the season, so not a bad signing. And we signed Jakob Ramerson. He'd been released by Brøndby, so no experience in the Premier League. He had been around Europe, in Italy, in Holland, and obviously Denmark. He played a little bit in Germany early on in his career as well, so he was a well-travelled player. And the big signing we had, obviously, this season was Nemanja Radonic. Now, he'd been released by Torino, and he came in to play just behind the striker. Obviously, he has spent quite a lot of his career in Italy and France, but he was the big summer signing on a free transfer. And actually, he had a decent season: 31 games, 7 goals, and 4 assists. Not terrible at all. Kaio George scored 10 goals, while Liam Delap bagged 5. So unfortunately, our rebuild does finish with relegation. However, from where we took over with Bolton Wanderers, they're in such a good position now to bounce back. They've got a really good squad for the Championship if they can be kept together. There are a lot of players who are asking to leave. But bear in mind, this will be because the way the assistant manager has managed the team. A lot of the players who are looking to leave, the likes of Liam Delap, it's because of playing time. Philip Billing, playing time. Dion Charles, all these players are just leaving because of playing time. And I think if it was being managed by a player and not just being left to the assistant, that wouldn't happen. I mean, I've never had more than maybe one player in a season asked to leave because of their playing time. So I'm sure that's easily overcome with a little bit of man management, I suppose, would be the right answer. But it's been a good season. It's been a good 5 years at Bolton Wanderers. Financially, much, much better position. Leagues, they're going down to the Championship. They'll get parachute payments. Really good opportunity to go back to the Premier League. Probably promoted maybe a season too early. But still, what a rebuild. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out my Man City video that we released on Monday as well, where we charged them with all their FFP charges, completely bankrupted them, and see how you... see how they get on. Certainly, well, that's part 1. That's the first, I think, 10 seasons we've done. So, if you're still here and you're watching this, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future rebuilds. We'll be dropping probably 1 a week, along with an experiment moving forward. And, let me know in the comments who you'd like to see me rebuild next anyway. I'll see you all soon, guys. Have a great one.